Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Except for Forrest, the box that you're holding up clearly has symbols on there telling you exactly what you're going to get, as do most boxes of chocolates. So it's a completely inane statement, but there we go. Welcome to Forrest Gump. Right at the start, it gets right right out the gates and says, "This is the kind of film I am." We're in controversy season, as we call it, and you might think Forrest Gump isn't controversial. You might not think Eurotrip, which we did last time, wasn't controversial, which it wasn't. It's controversial between us, and maybe it's controversial between a lot of other people as well. Um, but this was picked. It's Forrest Gump. It was Dom's choice. Over to you, Dom. Introduce it.
So I think most people would consider Forrest Gump to be a reference point movie in the sense that it kind of defines a period when it came out. It did brilliantly at the Oscars, and hopefully I'll be allowed my little Oscar Bants section
I'm
later
looking
on in
forward to
this
that. Yeah, yeah,
review.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But really, I think it stands out as kind of a bit of a cultural highlight in the 90s. It was not exactly the making of Tom Hanks because this came after Philadelphia, I think, didn't it, when he transitioned into more kind of serious actor mode. But to spoil a little bit of my Oscar bants, this did gain him the Best Actor award, and it's a film that I think does divide opinion. So at the time, it was this kind of cultural behemoth that seemed to capture the imagination, not just in America, and it is a very American movie, but did brilliantly in the UK as well. So I sat down to watch it with positive mindset and thinking that I'm going to enjoy this, but as we will do throughout controversy season, with an open mind as well, prepared to backtrack on that. And actually, I found this a really entertaining and engaging story, and I use that word story advisedly because for me, it does feel in a very positive way episodic. It feels like a book. It tells a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But I think it does it in quite a creative, innovative way. Innovative in the sense, of course, that they splice him into historical events from the late 20th century, and that's at the time was quite groundbreaking and quite interesting. But also, it moves it from being just a love story between Forrest and Jenny, and it kind of puts it against the backdrop of the events of the second half of the 20th century, in a way that I think doesn't shy away from controversy. So, whilst I can see why it could be criticised for being romantic or sentimental, actually it deals with themes such as abuse and racism and AIDS and prejudice and kind of liberals conservative clashes, but in a way which, for me at least, kept me engaged. I couldn't resist some of the emotional arcs that it takes you on. Lieutenant Dan and his kind of wanting to die in the Delta at Vietnam to shaking hands at Forrest's wedding and introducing his mysterious fiance that suddenly appeared on the scene, and everything in between. And there was a little tear in my eye towards the end as at the death
Hmm.
scene. Yeah, so not
Right.
literally, but metaphorically, I don't think I've cried since I was 12 years old. But yeah, so for me, it lived up to my expectations. I saw little differences in the film from when I've seen it before. It's quite a rich film. There's stands up to repeat viewings, I believe. Does it deserve all the Oscar hype it got? No, I would say, and there are one or two faults in it. Certainly, it beat Pulp Fiction for best film at the Oscars, and is that a right outcome? No, it's not. But nevertheless, for
Nope.
me, a very enjoyable, interesting story, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Wow. Joe,
Wow. I was not
crikey.
expecting that one.
Joe, we were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had a chat with Joe
Oh,
earlier, and we both said what score you were going to give. We both thought the same, and it wasn't that. Halfway through that description, I'm kind of like thinking, why don't you and Forrest Gump the movie get a room? I mean, literally, you're like waxing lyrical about it, and I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, and we'll get to that. In fact, I'm going to go last. Joe, Joe, flying the flag for all the American references in this film. I'm looking forward to your insight, I would say.
yeah.
But before we get to that point, what did you think of it?
No, I really was surprised with Dom's score. I was not
Ooh.
expecting that at all.
Do you want to say
I
what
thought
we
I
were
was going to
told?
be, yeah, sure.
We both said it was going to be a seven,
Yeah.
but nine.
Because
Wow.
no, because he wanted to bet what score it was going to be, who was going to come closest to your score. And so he says, I have a 7. I'm like, I got a 7. It's like I could just see him saying this is a 7 because he hasn't used sevens much.
No,
And
you don't.
I don't think he's going to hate it that much, but I don't think he's going to love it either. So, all right. So back to the movie. Yeah, I thought I was going to be like the lone defender for this movie. So I'm kind of glad I somewhat have Dom on my side. Not 100% sure. I'm sure there's criticisms. I have problems with the movie too. I mean, I definitely liked it a hell of a lot more when I first saw it. And it is very cultural. And I have read so many stories and I've listened to other podcasts like where people, especially over in England, just hate this movie. And I didn't think anyone could hate this movie, but it could be a cultural thing too, because you might not have experienced everything that we experienced back then. And to be fair, probably most of the audience, because they don't teach much in school. I doubt that they knew the history that Forrest went through either. But it is, he is kind of a bit of a I don't know if I want to say cultural icon, but I think this movie made him for sure. Now, Dom said that he did Philadelphia before this. Um, yeah, so this one put him definitely in the spotlight. And if he won the Oscar, definitely for sure, put him in the spotlight. But I think he'll always be remembered for this movie more than any other movie I can think of that he's done. And he did do a really good performance. There's one scene that I have an issue with that I felt that he went out of character, but overall, I think he did a brilliant performance. And it's kind of like it's a movie that makes you. It's a feel good movie in a way. It makes you sad, but it also makes you feel good. It kind of like knocks you around the room, like where you might get sad for a little bit, and then all of a sudden something nice will happen to make you happy. I think most of the performances are really good. And the musical score, I think, is incredible. It's Alan Silvestri, who did Back to the Future. I think that this kind of cemented him into, the category of some of the best composers for movies. I just love the score in this movie. Just incredible. Um, and it was also state of the art, I guess, CGI back then. Like we weren't really used to seeing stuff like that, where now I'm sure it will look a hell of a lot better. I mean, we see it all the time now, but yeah, it was kind of surprising for audiences, and that was a big sell because like you would see like interview shows like Good Morning America, and they would show you a scene of him meeting Kennedy, and you're like, wow, that looks so real. But I think the scene with him and Johnson does not look as real. Uh, and the scene I despise the most, I think, is the one with John Lennon, because John Lennon doesn't even move his lips,
No.
while he's talking. But overall, it reminds me this to me. I really enjoyed the movie when I first saw it, and I still do. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a classic for most people. Not that it doesn't have problems, but it's definitely a classic for me. Maybe
Well,
not
well,
everybody.
well said, Joe. Because I think you'd have to be a cold-hearted son of a bitch to dislike this film. Wouldn't you? You'd have to be one cynic. You'd have to be one
Lighting me
cynical,
up, eh? Okay.
yeah, black-hearted individual not to.
Black-hearted. Just realistic. Look, I said to you that I would watch this film with an open mind, and I'd have to be absolutely blind to the fact that as a cult, as you pointed out, as a cultural event, as a cultural, milestone in cinema. Yes, this is there with Pulp Fiction and all the other things that the films that happened in the 90s. So yeah, I recognise that a lot of people like it, and when it comes out, and I can see how some people would say that it's feel good, but you know, I do love you, and I do love doing this podcast with you. But on this one,
Me
you
or
both of
Dom?
you,
Who do you love?
you both of you, you two are a couple of dreamers on this. Are we? Are we? I feel
I
not
don't
just
know,
not.
dude.
I feel like just I feel like on my own, but I
Yeah,
feel
you're
like
you're
I feel like I've got the high ground on this one, a bit like Kenobi in Star Wars. Um, yeah. Uh, where I don't know where to start. The They say, wasn't it the quote from Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, never go full retard. And that's what happens is when you do, you get an Oscar. Daniel Day-Lewis, this,
Oh yeah.
Dustin Hoffman. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. But what this film does that the other two didn't do is treats the person with disabilities with the most disrespect of what he actually does and the things that he finds himself into. He's got no discernible talent, yet finds himself in all of these positions. He picks something up and he's instantly wonderful at it. He's not just wonderful, he's world class. He's the best at what he does. Just because he can run fast, oh, okay, well, suddenly he's like the all-American college team or whatever. The film says to you, be dumb and compliant and you'll make it. But
No,
don't
that's
be
not
like,
what it says.
but don't be like Jenny. Don't be free-spirited and going off and doing her own thing. Don't do that, because if you do, that's not good. So we want you to be stupid and compliant. And that's what it says. He's got zero awareness of anything that's going on around him, despite the fact that he's grown up in an environment where he should know these things. It annoyed me. After 15 minutes, I thought, I know I've got another fucking 2 hours of this. And I'm like,
That's not open-minded. That's not open-minded.
No, it is, because I honestly started with, I know that this film means something to people. I get that. I understand that. And obviously you too. It means something to you and many, many others. I'm not saying, I've never ever said that I didn't like this film because it was like, oh, well, it's the sort of thing to say. I genuinely don't like this film. And I started the 80s as a Tom Hanks fan. I thought Bachelor Party, who would have it turned out that was his peak. And that was the best film that he ever made. It was certainly the funniest film he ever made, but it was the best film he ever made. And he's so overrated. And we've talked about overrated actors before, but he is so overrated. And this is the perfect vehicle for somebody that's overrated, because you just go, I'm just going to sail through and I'm going to give you the Oscar. We're going to plug it. We're going to tug at every heartstrings. We're going to put JFK in there, which is always a good thing for liberals. Put JFK in there. We're going to do everything. And the Academy goes, wonderful, wonderful, bravo, bravo. Take the Oscar. In fact, take a few of them. I'm not even going to get into the bits about it because they're so annoying.
I can't wait. Can't wait to debate this with you. Give us your score.
Okay, so the score is I had trouble watching it again. So it's a film that I wouldn't watch again. It just makes me crawl just thinking about having to watch it again. So it's
Jesus.
2 out of 10. 2 out of 10.
Oh, good Lord.
Get 1 for the special effects. Barely, apart from the John Lennon one. I agree with you on that. So yeah, 2 out of 10. Sorry.
Well, I hope that through Controversy season there will be 1 or 2 examples where we manage to change the person's mind about the film that they hate. But the fact
I'm listening to what you're going to do. Absolutely. What I say, I'm still open-minded. I just wasn't after 15 minutes of that. Sorry.
What you attack the Oscars, and that's obviously like I take that as a personal attack. But
I wouldn't.
I think one area where I would disagree with you, and I think a point you would overlook is that you accuse this film of having playing to the liberals and to we'll whack Kennedy in there, we'll whack John Lennon in there.
The voters.
Yeah, but actually, this is, I would say, the most conservative film to have won Best Picture in a long, long time. Actually, the central message.
Drink so I can spit it out. Sorry.
All right. Well,
okay.
Bear with me then. Okay, so
right.
to your earlier point and your what I would call muddled thinking, Jenny, you're right. She is this free-spirited liberal. She's anti-war movement, and she's kind of ticks every obvious box from these kind of in the late 60s, and as she journeys through time, whereas Forrest is he's in the army. He's got a very kind of traditional view of and set of values based around home and religion and simple good old apple pie type values. So actually for me this is a kind of a tribute and a hymn really to traditional American values and conservative American values, not necessarily what conservative means in 2025, but what it meant in perhaps the 1990s. This is kind of like perhaps influenced by Reagan era politics, and so for me, this is a triumph of kind of a conservative storytelling over liberal storytelling. So for me, the fact that it did sweep the board at the Oscars is pretty amazing, I think. And maybe the answer to that slight paradox is because for me it brings onto the screen what America perhaps represents. So it doesn't shy away from some of the kind of uglier sides of America and some of the conflicts and tensions that exist there, but it does bring it together in a really compelling way, I think. And whether it's his kind of business that takes off from such humble beginnings, catching tin cans and toilet seats on the rivers, to this big corporation, or whether it's joining as a raw recruit in the army and getting the Congressional Medal of Honor, it shows how a man can succeed through having these kind of simple, non-intellectual values at his heart. So for me, it's a conservative film in the best possible sense of that word. But Joe,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Dom, but I also agree with Charlie. I think that Jenny may have represented, liberal freedom, or what they felt back then, like the hippie kind of vibe and all that. So I think Charlie, for me, I guess again, it's subjective about how we feel about the film and what the message was. For me, I've always felt that. Did you ever hear the term "ignorance is bliss"?
Yeah, of course.
That's Forrest. He has no idea when people are really making fun of him. He's got no idea of racism or prejudice, and he's got no dreams. Other than Jenny, I would say is probably his dream. But everyone in this movie has a dream. Like Bubba wants to own a shrimping business. He dies. Jenny wants to be a singer and famous. Nothing happens to her. Lieutenant Dang wants to die in battle. He doesn't die in battle and ends up, getting his legs blown off and all that. But Forrest doesn't. Forrest just lives in the now, and he just goes with the flow. I mean, I can kind of understand what you're saying. Like, how does he have like these superhuman abilities where he's able to adapt to situations? But again, it's fiction. It's not based on a real character or anything like that. So it's like, you could say that people have strengths and their weaknesses. The weakness with Forrest is that he's not too intelligent. He doesn't catch on to what's going on. But in a way, by the end of the movie, you look at that as a strength, because like, aren't there times like when you're living your life and you wish you didn't know how bad it was? And I think that that's what people admire about Forrest, and that he wins. It's like, he got bullied in the beginning of the movie, for sure. The kids throwing rocks at him. And then he starts running. He becomes a good runner, and the football coach again sees him and puts him on the football team. Now, it's not like the football coach has any sympathy for him, but he just needs him to win. It's just that I guess we'll have to. I don't want to get too far into this, too far ahead of myself.
Okay,
but we'll discuss it. But I did want to ask about the Oscar bands, and then I wanted to kind of get into who almost was cast as who.
Let's watch the trailer. Yeah. Well, let's watch the trailer.
Okay, let's watch the trailer.
We're going to cut the trailer down because even the trailer outstays its welcome.
And Charlie doesn't like it.
3 minutes 46. Well, it's not that I didn't like it. In fact, actually, I genuinely really liked the trailer when it first came out because it had this stirring music behind it, which then every other trailer used. But yeah, well, let's watch the trailer and then we'll get into it.
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump. Would you like a chocolate?
Oh, thank you.
It's funny what a young man recollects.
You're the same as everybody else. You are no different.
Your boy's different.
Are you stupid or something? Mama says stupid is as stupid does. And Jenny. I'm Forrest Gump.
She was my most special friend. My only friend. We was together all the time. We was like peas and carrots, Jenny and I.
Run, Forrest!
Hey, stupid!
Run!
Now, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but I can run like the wind blows.
Who in the hell is that?
That there's Forrest Gump, Coach. Just a local idiot.
I never thought it would take me anywhere. They even put me on a thing called the All-America Team, where you get to meet the President of the United States.
Congratulations. How does it feel to be an All-American?
I gotta pay.
I believe he said he had to go pee.
Okay, well, I stopped the trailer about halfway through. It does what it does. It drew people in. I didn't even figure out what it made. I don't know. The Rotten Tomato scores are probably, I don't know, 98% or something. I've no idea. It probably made a bucket load of money, and everyone went back and watched it again, and they watched it with the grandparents because they went, "Oh, look, it reminds me of picket fences and apple pies and stuff." So yeah, maybe, probably. I didn't intentionally not do my research. I didn't intentionally not do my research.
I was going to say that music is from Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
Okay, well, it's been reused to effect. I thought it was used.
It was a good piece of music.
Yeah, I thought it was used to good effect in this one. I don't know where we're going to start. Can I just start off with? In fact, can we start off at the bus stop?
Oh, whoa, hold on. We said we were going to start off with Oscar bands, and
right? That's right. Yeah, sorry. The trailer was that long that I forgot all about it. So yeah. Right. So, Oscar bands.
Diddly diddly. I'll do my own theme music because you refuse to edit it in, don't you?
One of the Oscars, I have a huge contentious part with, but yes, let's get to it.
Well, what a year it was for the Oscars. So this was it 95. So Best Picture. Look at this for your set of nominations: Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, The Shawshank Redemption. All right, then there's a bit of a tail off in quality, but still quite good. Four Weddings and a Funeral and Quiz Show. So that is like the dog bollocks. That must be the best lineup of best fiction nominations in the 90s. Yeah. And it triumphed, Charlie. So the sheep all fell into line and somehow, with the wool pulled firmly over their eyes, went for Forrest Gump. Now, admittedly, it's not as good a film as Pulp Fiction. So I think that's the deserving winner.
Or Quiz Show.
Well, that's a claim. Shawshank Redemption, I think, is also gives it a decent run for its money
overrated.
As well. But
But do you wonder? With that
come on, dude! Come on.
We're looking for.
I'm starting to think in agreement on that one.
I don't know how you don't relate to Forrest Gump now.
Well, we have another contender for controversy. You do not like Shawshank Redemption.
It's not. I don't like it. It's all right, I suppose. Yeah.
No, I was going to say. Wow. I wonder if the problem was that half the audience loved that, or half the Academy voted for Pulp Fiction and half the Academy voted for, or a large percentage voted for Shawshank, and Forrest Gump won because they split the votes. You know what I'm saying?
I think my read on it would be that it was always going to be Forrest Gump that year, and that Pulp Fiction and Shawshank did really well to actually get onto the list of nominations, because even though the test of time absolutely deserved it, at the time they were both. I mean, Tarantino was cool and a lot of kind of attention on him, didn't he? But that was his first one after Reservoir Dogs, wasn't he? So for him to kind of get that nomination was pretty impressive, and a bit of a departure for the Oscars, perhaps. But yeah, so Best Director also. So it won Best Picture. He also won Zemeckis for Best Director. Other nominees: Woody Allen. Gosh, bit of what. Wonder if he'll ever get nominated again for Best Director. But for Bullets Over Broadway.
Well, they're not Roman Polanski, so yeah, probably he'll have a resurgence at some point.
I think Alan may have burnt his bridges. Tarantino for Pulp Fiction, Robert Redford for Quiz Show, and Three Colors Red, which is a great film, but I've already tried to play down my pretentious credentials on this pod. All the hate mail I get that's just from my co-hosts. He won Best Actor, Tom Hanks, for his second year on the trot. He won for Philadelphia, and he won for Forrest Gump. Other nominees: Morgan Freeman for Shawshank Redemption, Nigel Hawthorne, Madness of King George, Paul Newman, Nobody's Fools, and John Travolta for Pulp Fiction. Controversially, I think, because I think that was Samuel Jackson's movie. Best Adapted Screenplay, it won. Also, Best Film Editing and Best Visual Effects in some of the technical
Best Film
categories.
Editing. Best Film Editing. This film is so poorly edited, it is beyond comprehension. The continuity errors in it. I'll give you one. So the van that's coming up to Forrest when he's grown up and he's doing "Run, Forrest, run." Right, and they're doing the next bit, when they're close to it. And then the other shot cuts and it's like 20 feet behind. And then it cuts back again. I'm like, who's editing this? These are just monkeys in there with like splicers just trying to, it doesn't make
it was different times. It wasn't the same day.
It was a different time. The van is literally chasing him.
To be fair
it's
to
either
Charlie,
next to him or it's away from him.
I did pick up on that. There was a bit of inconsistency there.
Thank you.
To ask who was editing, it was Arthur Schmidt, as I'm sure you knew deep down. So yeah,
yes.
Oscar-winning Arthur Schmidt.
Ooh, to Arthur Schmidt.
So 6 wins. It also got nominated but did not win. I won't go through them all. The best sound effects editing, best sound, best original score. Lost out to The Lion King for that, Joe. Best makeup, best cinematography, it missed out on. Best art direction. But the one that I thought was most interesting was best supporting actor. So Gary, how'd you pronounce his surname? Sinise. He got nominated, but lost out to Martin Landau for Ed Wood. Samuel Jackson got nominated for Pulp Fiction, and then there was Bullets Over Broadway and Quiz Show as well. But yeah, I'd love to see Samuel Jackson get.
That's Sam Jackson.
Oh, I mean, me too.
Martin Landau was good in Ed Wood, but Sam Jackson, come on.
Yeah, he was barely in it. He died pretty quickly. Yeah, it's just another one of where he's going to die soon. We should just give him his Oscar. Unfortunately, and he did. So I guess they were right about that. But yeah, I agree. Samuel Jackson just knocked it out of the park. He should have gotten that one.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, he was pissed off.
Yes, I can imagine he was.
You
wanted to go into alternate people. We hardly do this anymore. We stopped doing this about 2 years ago.
No, we do it. We do it.
Okay.
Anyway, so Bill Murray was a choice. I think John Travolta was the first choice.
Both of those are horrific.
Can't see, really either one of them. Chevy Chase.
Can you imagine Chevy Chase playing it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Bill Paxton, which I actually can kind of see as far as
that might have worked. Yeah.
And the author that wrote the book, Winston Groom, he always wanted John Goodman to be Forrest because he wrote Forrest as a 300-pound guy in the book. So
good luck with John Goodman doing the running scenes. That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
we've got an e-scooter now.
Yeah, put him on a skateboard or something.
If they ever remake it, I would like to see Ben Stiller do it, just because you mentioned it earlier, Charlie. Tropic Thunder, which clearly is satirizing in parts Forrest Gump. I think I would love to see him just, what is it, full retard, to use your phrase. I'd love to see him crank it up a little bit. That would be worth watching.
For Jenny, Jodie Foster, Nicole Kidman, and Demi Moore.
In fact, I can see all of those working for Jenny.
I could see that too.
I thought I don't like Jenny's character, which we'll get to that. But yeah, I thought Robin Wright Penn did a great. She did as good as can be expected.
Yeah, and the last one I thought was hysterical was Joe Pesci for Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Pesci could improve any film that he could be linked with. I think I'd love to see him in that.
He'd be like, "What are you, fucking retarded?"
Oh, right. Okay. Well, there you go. For people that have been long-time listeners, they're a little blast from the past with alternate people. We haven't got a jingle for that. Same way we haven't got a jingle for Oscar Bants. But jingle alternate people. Anyway, right. There we go. Right. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's go to the start of the film. The most annoying thing in this film for me, and it has to be, is that the only prison that you see people see him now are the people that sit on the bench waiting for the bus, because that's present day, right? And not one single person recognizes him at all. In fact, one guy actually goes, "Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're the billionaire that owns Bubba Gump." How many times has this guy been on TV? How many times has this guy been on talk shows? How many times has he ping pong? All the stuff that he's been doing, presidents that he's met, and no one knows a clue who he is. In fact, when he goes on his run, the TV, the anchor woman calls him, what she put, a local gardener. And you're like, what? That's essentially, is that not like Bill Gates or Elon Musk running down the road and saying, yes, local puts up aerials or something. I don't know, something like that, rather than going, no, he builds reusable rockets, internet that can be accessed from anywhere on the planet, the biggest platform for social interaction or whatever. No, and nobody recognizes him at all.
I can defend that. First of all, he's like Clark Kent and Superman. Basically Clark Kent intentionally kind of acts like a nerd where people are repelled against him. When you see Forrest Gump on TV,
how did he not act like a nerd when he was doing all the stuff?
No, my point is that
consistent all the way through.
No, yeah, but I'm saying is that like back then, like nerds were like, get away, don't want to have to deal with them. Same thing with Forrest. It's like, why is this idiot on TV? It's like I don't think that they wanted to read about him, and or people, especially in that area. That was that was supposed to be. Was that Alabama? I guess so, because that was near his house. Oh no, she'd moved. Well, I know. I actually a couple of months ago, I actually visited that area. It was in Savannah, Georgia. I don't know if Jenny was living in Georgia at the time, but that was kind of cool to see because it looked exactly like the spot. The bench wasn't there, but that's exactly where the spot was. But anyway, I think it's like no one gives a shit about Forrest, and Forrest doesn't want fame either. He's not looking for it. He just goes with the flow, and whatever the fuck happens to him, in a way, it's a good thing that happens for him. I guess that in a way, that's his balance in life, is that he wasn't really born with brains. So you could say, well, maybe God made him a little more lucky or a little more talented in things that, most people aren't talented in. I mean, that's all I can say.
But the central point, I think, here is that it's not supposed to be realistic. It's not a documentary, just in case anyone, is
so why intersperse it with real life events then?
Because it's first and foremost a story. I think it's a story of this man's life, but it's not intended to be taken literally. He's, to your point, if you kind of break it down, and how come he's a world-class runner, how come he's like the ultimate soldier, how come he's incredible at table tennis. It's a way of providing a canvas to explore kind of American history and personal values. This is the kind of character. If it was just kind of what realistically he would have achieved with an IQ of 75 growing up poor in Alabama would have achieved pumping gas at a station or something, it wouldn't have made for a very compelling or engaging story. So he has this kind of super extraordinary life, but it's not supposed to be, I would suggest, taken literally. The coincidences that happen and the twists of fate, the other shrimping boats being destroyed by a storm after he's prayed in church, is it a divine act? Is it a random act? It just provides this platform for him to showcase history and his involvement in it, and ultimately what really matters to him are these kind of personal moments and his obviously relationship with Jenny. So I think to attack Forrest Gump from the point of view of believability and plausibility would be a little bit unfair, and for me doesn't undermine the film, the fact that that he has this incredible adventure. That's what Hollywood and movies are about. They're about adventure and these unique experiences.
Yeah,
and
I mean, sorry, Dom. And I was going to say, and you love the Rocky movies. Rocky's an underdog. Forrest is an underdog. I mean, and you would think that you would see some kind of appreciation for that aspect.
Don't get me wrong. A well-made film, Rocky. This is not. It is. Rocky is the ultimate underdog, probably the ultimate underdog film, from where he started and how he rose to where he got to. But to have this sort of, you talk about, well, it deals with the gritty issues. I think you said at the start, Dom. It doesn't. It goes. It veneers over the Vietnam War. It veneers over all these other things. And it just basically goes, oh yeah, by the way, he's good at that, and he's pretty good. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next one. It's a film that's just jumping from one to the next to the next to the next.
Yeah, and I think it treads that deftly. I totally agree. It is constructed. You can tell it's the source material as a book. It's constructed in the sense of chapters that follow one another. The events are sequential. This isn't Pulp Fiction where it's all edited and spliced together in a different creative way. This is beginning, middle, and an end. But I think it does it well. If you want to watch the dark, gritty realism of of Vietnam and PTSD, then go and rent The Deer Hunter, because that's an amazing film which explores that in depth and in a really engaging, compelling way. If you want to see actually a different take on Vietnam, which doesn't totally shy away from some of the horrors that went on there, Lieutenant Dan, double leg amputation, burns victims in the bed next to Forrest, and ultimately his platoon is ambushed and massacred. Then that is in this film. Those events do happen. That kind of trauma does exist, and yet Forrest kind of survives and thrives throughout it. Does that make it invalid? No, I just think if we approach every topic, such as AIDS or racial conflict or Vietnam War, our kind of sackcloth and ashes, paying it due deference and wringing our hands, and
like
wasn't it horrible? Wasn't it terrible? Yeah, then those films are available. This, for me, is the strength of the film, is it presents those events and explores them with a lighter touch, in a way which is entertaining, but isn't kind of sacrilegious somehow to the memory of those who served, or to people who suffered during that time. That was how I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I quite like. I mean, I love Platoon. I love Full Metal Jacket. I love Hamburger Hill. I love the Deer Hunter. I think those are all great films inspired and influenced heavily by Vietnam. This isn't a Vietnam film, but when it does touch on that section of history, it does it in a way that I think is quite engaging.
Well, it has its.
I think it's
it has its comedy moments. So it has the bits that make you laugh. JFK, well, I think he said he need to go pee. You've got all these sorts of stuff, and you've got those. I don't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a romantic film? I don't think it succeeds on that level. Does it want to be? Look, here's a journeyman, kind of like the Walter Mitty going through, particular. I think Woody Allen did a film called Zelig, where it was basically people going through and this person being at different points. But what that film did, which this film doesn't, which is sort of take its subject matter seriously to the point where it knows what kind of film it's going to be. It might not like it, but at least it knows what film it is. This one seems to go saccharine moment, saccharine moment, saccharine moment. Okay, we'll get a little bit into the weeds on it. Saccharine, saccharine, saccharine. And it just feels like, Lyndon Johnson saying, "What? I wouldn't mind seeing that." Does he say it because he wouldn't mind seeing his ass? I mean, you're just left ambiguous until he actually pulls his pants down and shows him. Funny moment. I don't think it's the heartstrings thing that people.
Well, I think it's
lay it out to be.
No, it's more of like that they're trying to run, the whole gambit of emotions in the ticket buyer or the audience. Yeah, I mean, it goes through a lot of things. Yeah, there is some kind of romance, there's some tragedy, there's some comedy, there's some drama, and I think it handles it well. And again, you might say that it brushes over history, but what it's trying to show you is that he was involved. I mean, when you look at this kid in the beginning and you look at Forrest Gump, yeah, he's not bright. I mean, I would imagine someone like that, his obituary would read, he got hit by a bus, not looking both ways and crossing the street. But what he does, though, is and I guess his mother, pushed this into him, is that you're no different from anybody else. I think it's a good philosophy, too. It's like everyone should feel that way, that, that you're no better, you're no worse than everybody else. And also, like I said, ignorance is bliss sometimes. I mean, I kind of, there are times when I am going through the worst shit ever, and I just take a step back and I kind of look at the stars in the sky like Forrest was doing. I was like, God, it's nice, I mean, sometimes you have to look at life that way. I know, and that's probably what they're trying to say, is that that's the one benefit that Forrest has. Even though he's in Vietnam, he can find the moment to look at the stars and say how beautiful it is, where everyone else is I'm either getting drunk late or I'm afraid I'm going to get killed and sent home in a box. He's not even thinking about dying when he's there. He's just going wherever they tell him to go. He's not a leader. He doesn't want to be a leader.
It doesn't, Joe, it doesn't have any flaws. I mean, apart from the obvious disability.
He's not bright.
No, but he doesn't have any flaws. He's kind of
don't know if I agree with that. He's marginalised by society, isn't he? He's a victim. He's bullied. He's
Does that stop him
virgin all the way
becoming one of the
through.
richest people in the world?
No, but it doesn't mean that he's flawless either. He's not presented as some sort of aspirational character, is he? He's kind of. I think it's quite a human portrayal of him, and I think he's presented as a flawed individual. I mean, first and foremost, his intelligence or lack of it, and his there's that tongue-in-cheek scene in when he joins the army and he just does exactly what he's told to do, and he's unaware that somehow I was a great fit for the army. You know, that's a nod to the fact that you just have to be compliant to fit in there. But I thought Joe, the point you made there was really good one about some of the messages in the film. Like it really resonated with me, that scene you talked about as well, when it's take a look at the stars. I've done in my own life like a ton of walking and outdoor stuff recently, and that just seeing the sun rising in the desert or over a lake, I think that was pretty simple but powerful in a non kind of cliched way. And for me, the fact that this film isn't easy to categorize is part of its strength, because I think it did tick a lot of boxes. I think it is a romance film at its heart. I think it is about the underdog, as Joe said earlier, and I think it is part social history as well, but with a light touch. It's dead easy to get heavy-handed, and so many films these days would just leave me feeling bored, or well, I've seen this before. There's kind of a mindset about how you have to present certain issues. So for me to see a different perspective and a different way of doing so was really interesting.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I mean, I was recently in Disney, and I see people all the time, like where they're there, but they're miserable. They're on vacation, and they have all these kids, and they're rushing from ride to ride, and they're just missing so many things because they have a plan. And again, that's another thing. Like Forrest never had a plan in life.
You've got to have a plan though at Disney, haven't you?
Well, no, not necessarily. Again, it's probably because I live so close and I've been there so many times. It's not like I have to go on every friggin' ride every time I'm there, but I can enjoy the things that people are missing because they're in such a rush. Like I can, enjoy like, just like the music that's playing in the background, or some of the cast members, greeting people. I mean, even like when I go to the airport, I don't know if you guys ever do this. Sometimes I'll pick up people at the airport. I love just seeing people, greet each other, like when they haven't seen them in a while, and they hug each other, and it's like it's a generally
start
good
of Love
feeling.
Actually, you mean?
I guess so, but I've always felt that way, though. It's not like that happened after the movie. It's just, I think it's a nice thing to see, and I think a lot of people are just so focused on their own lives or what they want that they miss it. And I think that that's what the message of Forrest Gump is. It's like, life goes by so fast, you don't want to miss it. You want to enjoy
wait a minute.
it.
That's maybe that's another film, Joe. Life moves pretty fast.
Again, I'm not. Okay. I'm not trying to steal ideas from films. I'm just trying to say that I do think Forrest Gump has kind of helped me in my life, because it makes me realize that, yeah, he didn't have the best life. I mean, he could have had a miserable life, but he just went with the flow of things, and he didn't complain for the most part. And when you say,
the success that followed Forrest follow you, Joe?
Yeah, but you don't have to be successful financially all the time. You can be successful in other parts of your life. It's just that you have to accept what you have and not worry about what you don't have. And I think another thing, again, with Forrest, I think he would have been content if he never was a millionaire. He would have been content with no money.
The financial success to him is incidental. I mean, he gives away a chunk of it, doesn't he, to the church and to this hospital and to Bubba's family. I think over half of it just to Bubba's mother alone. Because what he really wants is love, and specifically love with Jenny and that relationship, which is denied to him throughout the whole film up until the conclusion, and then only because she's so poorly. So
yeah.
So for me, that whilst events and historical events happen around him, and whilst other measures of success happen around him, it's, I suppose, to a lesser extent, it's his friendship with Lieutenant Dan, but it's also, more importantly, his love affair or relationship with Jenny that was the kind of beating heart of this film. I mean, I think the third act of the film, for example, which is they get together, he loses his virginity to her one night,
He gets a pity bang.
Well, yeah, but which results ultimately, yeah. So that happens, and then there's the bit that's not in the book, but they stick in the film where he does that running across America, and then it comes back to she's got AIDS, and she goes back to live with him. Spoiler alert, dies, and he raises the kid. So for me, the running bit in that film, in that section, was just filler to kind of pad it out a
I
little
agree.
bit between their consummating their relationship and then ultimately the end of the relationship. But that's the film, and I think part of the message of this overall film is that's what's really important. It's the love, not the money or the success or the meeting the presidents or the Congressional Medal of Honor. Forrest were he to articulate it, but the fact that he's got this son and he had a relationship throughout his adult life with Jenny that's really important. So
He didn't have any relationship with. He didn't have any relationship.
Relationship in its broad sense of obviously she was part of his life and periods not.
We all
not so
know
much.
simps. We all know people that simps to women, and Forrest is the ultimate simp.
Well,
I think you need to defend that comment because that's not my read of this film at all. So go on. You think he's a simp? So for the benefit of our listeners, what do you mean by simp?
Simp is basically giving more than he's getting back. So in any relationship, if you give more than you're getting back, if you don't have like an equal, then particularly I think it's leveled at guys. I don't think it's ever leveled at women. Because I think guys, personally, I think it's probably harder for guys because women get a lot of attention naturally, and guys have to go up to women and get that sort of attention.
And you're right, Charlie. I mean, I will admit, but again, when you look at the character Forrest, he doesn't care. I mean, he loves Jenny. I guess because she was the first person to really show him true kindness in his life, and she was a very cute little girl and all that stuff, and someone he would think, why would she see anything in me where everyone else rejected me? And she looked at him. She didn't look at like he had real flaws. She just saw him as a friend. But her problem too is, again, like when you think, oh, people are so lucky they're born pretty, they have the world as their oyster and everything. She was getting molested by her father. And then her whole life she was just trying to get away from where she was. She was trying to hook up with people that she thought were basically maybe better than her, and she wanted to be accepted. And the one person that always accepted her was Forrest, but she had a problem with the fact that, he just wasn't 100% right there. I think it's a nice love story. And I understand the people hating on Jenny for kind of, in a way, using him at the end, like coming back, like after she's kind of like lost her money and she's got no place to live. And
everything, that's it. But that's the point in which, I mean, we talk about Jenny, and it's well documented. You go on YouTube, Jenny is the evil person in this, and she is pretty evil because every time she makes an appearance, it feels like Al Pacino in Godfather 3. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in, and there she is, and she pops up and she goes, "Hi, I'm here to fuck your life up, just for a little bit. I'm here to give you a tantalizing bit, maybe might give you a hand job, something like that, and there you go, fine." And that's it. But I'm going to be out of your life. And you're not going to see me again for 5-6 years. But I'm going to keep you on the hook because that's the type of person that I am. That's not a love story. So far from a love story. The only time that she showed him any affection, the only time she ever showed him any affection was right at the end when she had disease and basically said, "Oh, by the way, and you've got a son. You've got a son that I had no intention of telling you about, but because I'm ill, now I'm going to tell you." Ridiculous.
But again, I don't think that's true. I mean, one thing I was going to say is, did you ever think that Jenny didn't think she was good enough for him too? I mean, because of her life, especially someone that's abused by their parents.
Fine, stop stringing him along then.
Well, but he also, like, again, like when she says like he's being shipped off to Vietnam, she's really concerned, and she tells him, I want you to just run like you always did. She does love him, but I also feel like she wants to experience life. Forrest doesn't, but life happens to him, and he just, again, it's like he doesn't have the dream that she does. He just accepts whatever comes his way, and for whatever, maybe some intervention by a higher power, things happen for the best for him, where it doesn't happen for everyone that has their own dream. Good.
I do think, Charlie, this is the essence or the central point in why the film doesn't work for you. I think if you don't accept that loving relationship that they have. Not a traditional textbook loving relationship, but their own version of it. I think that's why the film won't appeal or resonate with you. And but before I sat down and watched this, we'd swapped a few memes on our little WhatsApp group, and I think one you shared that really amused me was Jenny saying something was the effect of "I'll see you again when you're a shrimp boat billionaire and I'm a single mom with AIDS," and of course, that is amusing and but it's actually also really really unfair as well, because the abuse theme that's in this film, fairly not darkly portrayed, but it doesn't pull its punches completely either. Explains why she is so broken and damaged as a person, and she has this horribly traumatic childhood that she's kind of then escaping from, and she tries to kind of medicate and distance herself through drugs and bad choice of men and ultimately a lifestyle that's really destructive for her. Does that mean her behaviour is all absolutely okay? Of course not, but I think it does mitigate and explain it to a large extent. And I think Joe's right. She distances herself purposely from Forrest because she doesn't want to bring that into his life, and she returns to him when she needs him most, because she does need that care and attention. But does that make her wrong for doing so? I don't think so. So she's a really broken person, and Forrest's the only person that can heal her and look after her and care for her, and ultimately he does, and she dies in
okay. Let me ask you.
phase of her life.
Let me ask you a question then. Do you think that she would have gone back to Forrest if she wasn't ill with the kid? She wouldn't have. Do you think she would have eventually told him you got a kid without the illness?
I think she would. I think it is slightly unsatisfactory the way it doesn't explain that she doesn't introduce the son to him, and so I'm not defending it blindly. I think that doesn't quite hold together, maybe, but yeah, I think it's maybe it's the times in her life when she's most broken, and whether it's the drugs or the men, that she goes back to him. Perhaps she's got this job and her own apartment and this son who's obviously healthy and loved. Maybe that explains why she doesn't go back to him, because she's kind of happy at that stage. But yeah.
Oh, then you paint the most unromantic picture is that I'm happy until I get ill.
But
now I need somebody to look after him.
True love stories, like cinematic love stories, are ones which involve tragedy, and it's not just some sort of linear living happily ever after. There's conflict and there's stress and there's the separation and there's longing and
but
and
not selfishness on this scale, mate. Not selfishness on this scale.
I don't think it's selfish. When he writes all his letters from Vietnam and he gets them back in the hospital and she's never seen them, that's a really touching moment, I think. And the path of true love is seldom straightforward, and the fact that they overcome all this adversity, all the kind of all the obstacles that are thrown in their way, and actually they find their own. Ultimately they get married, and they lived in this beautiful house together, and she's buried under the tree that they were with children. Is it how we all live our lives? No, it's not. But is it, in terms of a rich story that's on the screen in front of you, is it compelling? For me, it really was, and I think that is the beating heart of the film, and that's for me why the film works on so many levels, and perhaps the fact that you feel the way you do is why it perhaps doesn't work for you.
Perhaps there are other annoyances. I mean, when she comes back and introduces her son, I presume they have sex. Does that mean that Forrest has AIDS and the kid does? I don't know.
I thought about that too.
Yeah. I mean, that's why there wasn't a sequel, perhaps.
But I think, well, again, it's not a true story. I think that again, back then they didn't know what AIDS was. She might have been one of the first few that got it too. Like, she didn't know that being promiscuous would cause a death sentence for you. So I guess
enough for her to come back.
Well, enough for her to come back. Well, I think the reason why she came back was because she knew she was dying.
Right? So there we go.
And,
all right.
And she needed
just a
someone
cough
to
and a
take.
splutter with take some cough medicine and.
No, but she needed she needed someone to take care of her son.
How selfish is that? That he has to wait. How long? How old's the kid? I've forgotten how old's the kid. Seven?
It's about
Right,
I thought 3 or 4 or something.
3 or 4.
Yeah,
3 or 4
yeah,
years where she's gone. I love you so much, Forrest. I'm not even going to tell you I've got
But
to
again,
have a kid by you.
I think
Ooh,
you
I'm
know
getting
again
misty-eyed here.
you know she might feel like she's too much baggage for Forrest,
Look at
and
you
that
two.
even
You two explaining away Jenny's behaviour is one of my
yeah, why not?
highlights this year of the podcast. It's great.
Listeners, please
listeners,
comment on
watchers,
this pod. Tell us
please
why
do.
Charlie's wrong. All right. Well, look, we're getting a bit bogged out. I mean, this
We
is
are.
I suppose, the essence of the film. Let me just say, so I don't appear to be blindly defending the film. There are a couple of, it's a bit long. I think the second act does sag slightly. I think you could cut the whole table tennis part of the film without
And the
too many problems. Yeah, the running is a little bit of filler as well. So I think there's a bit of that in there. And yeah, so some things with 2025 glasses on don't quite resonate.
Oh, am I
as
going
much
to
as
bust
they
you down
did
to
at
an
the time.
8? Wait a minute.
No. I'm just so it's a film with faults and with flaws. Absolutely. Do I think it perfectly depicts? But it's a brilliant story. Surely part of what makes Hollywood a movie so great is storytelling, and it'd be a bit conventional if they just boy met girl, go on a few dates, he fingers around the back of a Weatherspoons, and then they get married and have a couple of kids and split up. Maybe that'd be more of an authentic love story, but it wouldn't be the tearjerker that Forrest Gump is for me. So I'm sticking with a 9. If anything, it's a 9.5.
Oh, look at you here. Ooh, there you go. Well, fine. Good job. We don't keep a ledger
But
with all the scores.
I'm just going to say, if you're a member of the audience, you want Forrest to get together with Jenny, but you also understand why Jenny doesn't get together with Forrest. But it's still,
remember seeing it in the cinema and going,
yeah,
"The fuck is this guy doing?" I remember thinking that.
well, that's you. It's like
I
will
going,
say, like I
dude,
said,
let it go. You're a billionaire. You can get any woman you want.
but he's not too bright either.
Presumably, if he's famous, then he could. I mean, billionaires get women. I mean,
but it's a movie, and it's supposed to again tell you a story. It's supposed to.
Sorry, yeah, the story.
You're supposed to believe that she is the love of his life, and you've never had that before, where like this specific person is the love of your life.
How is this woman the love of anybody's life?
Because she showed him kindness in the beginning.
Oh God, yeah,
close friends.
And sometimes women who are a bit flawed and a bit damaged can be very lovely in their own ways, can't they? As well. So yeah, not every woman has to be brought home to meet mum, and yeah, I don't know. I found her compelling, but I've had 3 glasses of red wine tonight. So yeah, I'd have used a condom. Put it that way. Yeah.
I mean, look at the fact that they probably went to school during kindergarten, during grade school, and during high school, and they were like peas and carrots the whole time. And he had no other corn or anything like that. It was just him and Jenny. You think he had friends in high school or grade school? Nope. It was just, for some reason, Jenny liked him as a friend. She didn't mind the fact that he wasn't as bright as other people. But yeah, I understand, your struggle with the whole fact. Well, she's a bitch.
It's just we haven't even got to his mother. We haven't even got to his mother.
Oh, here we go.
Why doesn't he turn out to be a complete psycho? She comes out with stuff like, vacation. That's where people go and they never come back. What a ridiculous thing to say to it. It just even somebody that has trouble with it, especially probably to somebody that has trouble with learning difficulties. Vacation. Well, yeah. So all these people go, I'm going on vacation. He goes, oh my God, yeah, these people are never gonna. Jesus.
Why you expect her to say your father's fucking some other woman, and they're in the Bahamas somewhere?
Well, so wait a minute. So, given the choice between one of those two binary choices, absolutely, say the dad's run off. Don't introduce a concept, a popular concept, and attach some sort of psycho, sinister meaning to it. It's basically like when I grew up. When I grew up, I cut into a pepper for the first time, right? And my mum said, if you eat the pips in peppers, you'll die because they're poisonous, right? And it took me ages to realise until someone went, "Fuck, are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they give you poison." Right? That's an example of my mum going, "Ha ha ha ha, funny joke, yeah," and all that sort of stuff, right? This is even worse.
So how exactly would you have raised Forrest if you were in this
Look,
in his household.
unfortunately, your dad ran away. He doesn't want to be with you, but I love you with all my heart. Done.
Well,
Done.
he's a young
Done.
kid, and
Done.
he's
Well, it doesn't matter. He's a young kid. He's what,
he's a
7 or 8?
special kid.
He's 7 or 8. Yeah.
So you want him to go thinking that the reason why my father left is because he didn't love me for the rest of his
I'd
life.
rather do it as he went on this thing
you were
called
too
a
stupid for him,
vacation
Forrest,
and can't get back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like he's trapped in some sort of like Superman 2, dead Twilight Zone. He can't. Oh, I'd love to come back and visit you, Forrest, but I can't because I'm trapped. Oh, ridiculous.
Do you think the mum was right to sleep with the principal to get him into that school, or was that does that make her
I just think it's low morals all over the joint. To be fair, so yeah, she might as well bang him if that's what helps get there. Oh, and by the way, Forrest, there's no fucking possible way you could have drank 15 Dr. Peppers. Do you know how much 15 Dr. Peppers is? I looked it up. 8.6 liters. 8.6 liters of anything is bad.
But he doesn't know any
8.6 liters of water is bad for you. Technically, you could overwhelm the system and drown in that short space of time.
I think I was present when you went to your first ever work-free bar, Charlie. And let's just make this clear for the public record. You showed as much self-restraint as Forrest Gump did in that scene when you were there.
So how long do you think that they were in that wait for the president? 20 minutes? 20 minutes? An hour? An hour.
Very long time.
8.6 liters an hour. That would even challenge.
Yeah,
I think you did that.
The picture of piano in Nottingham. I think you put that away as soon as you heard that somebody had put their credit card behind the bar and it was all free.
I did. Yeah. But I can't drink that fast. Despite that. But anyway. So okay. So Mum's a psycho. Okay. Jenny's evil.
You hate all the women in the film. Yeah, got it. I think that's a matter of record as well.
No, I like Bubba's mum. I liked her reaction when she got the check. And what did she do?
She was in it fleetingly.
She role reversed the slave thing. Yeah, I get that. Fine. Okay. Oh, another thing that you need to chuck in there to go, look at what we've done here. We've done this reversal thing. Aren't we clever? Yes, very clever. Very clever.
I know,
this is the same guy that did Back to the Future. Annoys me so much. Because Back to the Future is a seminal classic.
I would think the majority of the world disagree with you. I mean, again, if you go to IMDb and you look at the critics' ratings and you look at the audience ratings, there are so many 10s on there. I was like surprised, that people gave it 10s. But it's nice to see too. It's just like, this is a movie that you don't mind watching maybe once a year. Like It's a Wonderful Life. You could say the same thing about It's a Wonderful Life
too.
Not
put this in the same place.
No, but it's like there's problems, in their life, and then there's an angel that just happens to show up when he's about to kill himself. I mean, you can kind of compare it in a way, but it's something that people watch, even though there are bad things in it. They watch it because they like the ending. I mean, and maybe this ending isn't the best, though. I will say, I kind of felt like the ending was kind of sad. I will say the one
that's the first time he cries.
No, because
that's the only time he cries.
He lets his son go on the bus and just sits there.
It's not 90-odd%. It's 75% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What is that? Critics or audience?
Or
critics.
Not to be. Here we go. Sorry to leave you in suspense. Yeah, right. Critics. Fucking hell. 95%. What's wrong with you all?
I'm just saying. If you look at if you go into the audience reviews and you start looking at them and you see it's like 10, 9, 10, and then you see someone like Charlie at 3. I hated this movie. It's like
I'm not on my own.
No, you're not. But it's like you're in this small minority of people. You're probably like maybe 5% of the people that have seen this movie. 2 out of 10. Come on, Charlie.
But that's what makes this season so rich and compelling, hopefully for our listeners as well, is that, we're going to explore a lot of films together which pit us against one another. And this time, Charlie, I'm sure you feel a bit ganged up on, and clearly you are objectively wrong, but I'm sure there'll be opportunities for you to get your revenge as you get your choice.
Yeah, I'm sure, absolutely. I'm looking on here. Superman gets 83%. That was rubbish. K-pop Demon Hunters which I'm aware of. I know that it exists and it's a cartoon. 97%. People are. It's like one of that bird with the hat on that Homer has. That just does that on the keyboard. That's all. That's all that people are voting for. They're just voting for rubbish.
We've lost
Movies
Charlie.
Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts. 88%.
All right.
Right.
Well, let me ask you, like, what would you give Dumb and Dumber as a score?
I think when we did Dumb and Dumber, I think I gave it a 8 or a 9.
Did you expect that to win Best Picture?
Dumb and Dumber. Would I expect
Yeah.
it to win Best Picture?
Yeah.
No, because the Academy hates anything popular.
No, but my point is, we like movies. We all have our movies that we like and the ones that we don't. And this is a feel-good movie that a lot of people like, you know. And
I said that right at the start. Yeah, I said that right at the start. I said, I get that a lot of people like it. I get it's culturally significant.
Well, I think we've come full circle. I think this is a good place to bring this ship home now, Charlie. We've come full circle, and although this was an winning film that was very popular as well, so it does an exception by your logic. So yeah. So look, what are we doing next time then?
Well, it's Joe. It's over to Joe. I mean, Eurotrip. We've had Eurotrip, Forrest Gump. Where are we going next, Joe?
Yeah, I was gonna like follow up with the revenge tour on Charlie, which it seems like making him watch movies that he doesn't like, but I'm not going to be that cruel.
Thanks, Matt. I know it's coming next. Thank you.
And I have a feeling too. I mean, you might not like this movie, but this is a movie that I've wanted to do for a while, and I've just been holding it back, for better movies that I wanted to talk about. And this is a controversial movie, and I can't wait to go through this and talk with you guys about it. Eyes Wide Shut.
Wow.
It's Stanley Kubrick.
Plenty to talk about.
Yeah. And is this the first time you guys are going to be seeing this, or did you see it before?
I'd never seen it.
I've not seen it either, Joe. I need to know, is it sort of film you can watch with your partner? Is it sort of film you can watch with a woman, or are you better off watching it by yourself? Is it a better experience to watch it with somebody or by yourself? What do you think? Because I know it deals with, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but I know it deals with themes like sex and love and fidelity and things, doesn't it? Well, as far as
I mean, conspiracy.
I would say that you could. I mean, there's orgies, but it's like blink and you'll miss it, kind of thing. Could have been a lot worse. They trimmed 20 minutes apparently from the movie, and that may have made it a lot worse.
And then Kubrick died shortly afterwards. Oh, we're going to have plenty to talk about.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. Like, again, I wasn't crazy about it when I first saw it, but then I noticed how much of a following it had in the Kubrick community. Like, they love this movie. It's ranked very highly for a lot of people, and it's talked about probably more than any of the movies he's done before, because he died after the film, and it leaves a lot of unanswered questions. Was he trying to tell us something in this movie? Because he's very meticulous about the things that he puts in movies, in his films. You guys just have to watch it.
Yeah, I filmed the moon landings. Yeah, it's all in his films apparently. Yeah. Anyway, right. Well, we've got that to what a nice mix. We hopefully we'll never get criticised for sticking on one particular genre. We've gone from Eurotrip to, as I say, to Forrest Gump, and now we're going to Kubrick.
Well, I think it's a great choice of film. And if we do get criticised for anything, it's taking too long between our episodes. That's all entirely down to Charles Hunter and his fact he's a social butterfly these days. So hopefully
Not necessarily.
I needed a break, where I was like, I can't do it every week.
We are an equal opportunities podcast, and we take care of each other. So but
I do have more time now, so
not me, listeners, not me.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Dom just goes, "Oh, I'm in India or something." Or
I'm a machine. I'm here.
Right. Okay. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll be back. We'll be back to schedule. Right. Okay. On that note, I'm going to say cheerio.
Bye-bye.
Bye.